Hi guys, this week for Fan Choice Friday we'll be working on this black and gold magnetic drag marble, and I had several requests for basically like DIY decals or stickers, which I took to mean not with any stamping, with more of a freehand design. So I decided to go with this drag marble, which was inspired by one that I saw on Instagram by Sveta Sanders. And if you'd like to see how I did it, just stay tuned. Before we get started, I'm just going to show you guys the polishes that I'll be using. And the brand is this Nabby or Nobby, which I picked up a couple years ago, several years ago actually, on Amazon. The black is just called black. The gold is called dark gold. And I'm not positive whether this is still available, but if it is, I'll include a link down below. And for my magnet, I'm just using my Layla Magnetic Effect magnet, which is in the cap. And that's just a straight magnet. I'm going to start out with a coat of the black. And I will mention, not sure how much it shows up on camera, this gold is staining my Miracle Matte. Fortunately, I'd come to terms with that before I started doing it, that eventually my matte would get stained, so I'm not horribly upset, but I was kind of surprised that this was the color that stained it first. So I'm going to start out with the black, and I'm just using the nail guides as a general guide. I'm not really trying to get them directly the size of my nail, because when I was testing, I found that I got kind of a better pattern if I made it a little bit oversized. So I'm going to try and keep the stripe of gold on the thinner side. And then to draw in my design, I'm just using my smallest dotting tool. And I'm just going to swirl in side to side like this. And ta-da! Then with my magnet, I'm going to try and get it lined up straight on here. Sorry you guys can't actually see this happening, but I'm going to hold it there for a few seconds. And I'm not sure if that's showing up on camera at all. But basically, I'm trying to bring up the magnetic part of the gold right in the middle of the design. And I'll record a couple more of these, maybe some of the next ones you'll be able to see a little bit better. Alright, so I finished all of my drag marbling, and those are drying. And while they're drying, I'm going to go ahead and apply a base coat. I'm going to be using Ready for Takeoff, and you can use whichever base coat is your favorite. I've had some questions on how long you can wear a manicure with this peel-off base coat, and honestly, the main reason I use it is because I am changing my nails so often. I think the longest I've personally worn it is 4 days, but I know that Christine, Simply Nailogical, has worn it for up to 7, so it all depends on, how well it works for you. And if you really want to wear it a long time, I would of course recommend a normal base coat. For my base color, I'm again going to be using the black, and that will just help to camouflage any of the bald spots that some of the decals do have. It's kind of hard to avoid, but this will easily cover it up. I've let these all dry, I think maybe about 20 minutes. I should have kept a closer eye on the time, but I was more eyeballing it than timing it. And I'm just going to start going along their edges. Then once I've got a good edge with my tweezers, I'm just going to peel them up. And most of these turned out pretty good. I did make myself some spares just in case I rip any or have any problems or they're the wrong size. Because experience has taught me that any or all of that can happen. But this is really pretty easy and a lot easier than doing it right on my nails, I think. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and apply these stickers, and they are too dry to stick themselves. I think that's normally going to be the case. The way I did it with the water marbles, where they kind of clung on their own, seems to be the exception rather than the rule. And for my clear today, I'm using Wet n Wild Clear. Most creative name ever. Not really. But at any rate, I'm going to apply that on my nail. I already did my pinky over here. That's why I'm already to my ring finger. I'm going to try and line up the design pretty much on the center of my nail. Stick that on there. And press it along the sides. I even got out a little stamper, because like right on the Miracle Mat it says to use a stamper to press it on there, but I don't know that that's necessarily much easier than my finger. I guess it's useful. It's your personal preference, whichever you use. Then I'm going to tuck in the sides and trim away some of the excess with my orange stick, like that. And once I get the sides cleaned up, which these are actually closer to my nail size than I thought I was doing, I'm going to go ahead and trim the tips. That's just so it's not quite as messy. And then finish cleaning up the tips with my cleanup brush dipped in acetone. I did get a few wrinkles around the sides, but nowhere near as bad as with the Art Deco staggered gradient. I think when you're doing decals that are for the full nail, they're almost impossible to avoid, but I think that Sèche Vite will smooth them all out, and so I'm going to finish this off with a top coat. So here's the finished manicure, and I really like the way this turned out. And I know it's a little bit hard to see on camera, but one of the reasons I went with the magnetic polish is that it gives it a little bit of almost a play of light when you move your nails around. And in this color combination, I think it looks like, it reminds me of a tiger's eye gemstone. So you can of course do this with some other color combinations, and I actually tested a couple others. It's kind of hard to see. Maybe there, that's a little better. I really liked the black and red. That was probably my second place contender. And I also tried a black and a blue, black and silver, and just a couple other combinations that I didn't like quite as well as this black and gold. I also tried with the black and gold directly on the Miracle Mat like I ended up doing it. And then I did a test with a layer of the clear down before the drag marble or a layer of clear on top of the drag marble. And they didn't really make that much of a difference, so I decided to skip the clear, at least for this type of a design. And I feel like I'm getting a little bit better with these stickers. I am going to take a little bit of a break now after doing like 3 in a row, but definitely a learning curve on these, but I'm pretty pleased with how this turned out. I'd love to hear what you guys think of it, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.